Hi, I'm Becky Royal. I am the UK head of the Central Government and Housing Practice at Odgers Berndtson, and we are absolutely delighted to have Jonathan Cowie with us today. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi Becky. Great to see you.
You too. So look, you're week 3 into the role of Chief Executive at PCH now. Just tell us a little bit about what made you want to join the organisation, and I suppose a little bit about the organisation and its purpose as well.
Of course. Well, as a housing provider, the key focus is all about creating sort of homes people want to live in and within their local communities. So for me, the organisation, its mission and purpose is all about providing truly affordable homes. I think it's actually about changing lives. So the bit that I find really attractive is you can see the difference you make to people's lives by providing that home. People can put roots down, it's affordable, and that can change generations going forward. For me, what I loved about it was kind of 3 things. I think it was really the opportunity to harness the organisation to do, got 650 people plus, and that ability just to really get us being really creative and harnessing the potential. Great opportunity to do things in the city in the southwest, the 5th largest city or growing city in the UK, and the ability really to do far more than we set out in our strategy.
Right. And we talked a little bit just before we started recording, just about the sheer impact you can have on place. Because how many homes is it you've got?
Yeah, so we've got about 16,000 homes. So we're the largest provider of homes in this part of the southwest and around Plymouth. But I think the really exciting part for us is we're right in the heart of what is a huge regeneration around Plymouth. So it's a fantastic city, very historic, but it's also regenerating itself. And so we're working with the local council on the city centre, how that will be reimagined, right through to building more homes kind of in other parts of Devon and Cornwall.
Good. It's very exciting.
Right.
Good. So, I mean, obviously early days, but can you tell us a little bit more about the current strategy and what your vision is for the organisation?
So one thing I really liked coming into the organisation is we've got kind of 3 areas that we're really focused on. So firstly, it is about that real sense of working in the community, with the community, to transform lives. And whether that's from supporting people kind of grow and develop new skills to, as I mentioned earlier, really just putting roots down and being able to kind of create their family for the future. Secondly, the opportunity for us is to really make homes both affordable but truly livable for the future. So really interesting journey as we go on the carbon neutral journey in terms of making homes kind of really fit for purpose, but also that regeneration. So a lot of our homes were built post-war, and so we're reimagining what our estates look like, reimagining the local communities. And we're kind of, the great thing about housing is you look over 30 years. So we get the chance to plan for the long term and really start to kind of do the right thing. And thirdly, it's actually about new builds. So can we there's such a demand for affordable homes. So I'm really passionate about how we can continue to use our balance sheet. We have a better credit rating than Tesco's. So how can we really sweat our balance sheet to build more homes kind of where they're needed?
Lovely. So the reason we're talking today is we are due to go to market with an executive director role. It will cover 2 very critical areas of assets, so the homes you already have and the customers who live in them. Working alongside lovely exec teams. So obviously we've got Nick Jackson, who leads on business services and development. We've got Jill Martin, who leads on the corporate services. So a really nice opportunity to be a corporate player across the organisation working in partnership. But perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about the shape of the role, so the functional areas, and I suppose some of the immediate priorities for the role itself.
Of course. Well, it's probably worth starting with. This role kind of runs all of our really core kind of operation delivery services. So it's about 70% of the organisation. So for me, it's really around really strong leadership, really strong people engagement. And it looks, as you say, it looks across everything from customer services, so from our housing teams that are on the ground, our income collection teams, making sure that we're helping customers to pay the bills, and for us, make sure we've got our kind of revenue coming in, right through to our day-to-day repair service, and then long-term in terms of what our assets look like, how we regenerate our assets over the next, as I mentioned, sort of 20, 30 years. So it covers kind of that broad range. I think the other really key part is also how we this role is interfacing into our key partnerships in the city and beyond. So it's someone who will be really looking at saying, how can we work with others to deliver our strategy, and really kind of in partnership. So we are just able to harness the potential in PCH, but also the potential with our partnerships. Immediate priorities, I think, are really around getting out, listening to colleagues, and spending time, again, just the ideas. Our frontline, we've got some brilliant frontline teams as I go around the business, and it's really about listening to their ideas and thoughts. We've got a really clear strategy, so it's about someone taking those ideas, looking at our strategy, and it's really about delivery. So I think there's a great autonomy, as far as I'm concerned, to decide how we go about delivering what we set out for the next 4 or 5 years. And I'm looking for someone that's just got that energy, creativity, and inquisitiveness that really wants to kind of do that. We've also got a real clear focus on the regeneration side. So we're going to be doing a lot of regeneration in existing homes, and these are estate regenerations. We've been doing some of those over the last 10 years. So again, great opportunity to play shape and really look at how we make those communities, those homes, and where people live fundamentally set for the future, taking into account the environment, taking into account all the net C activity as well. And I think it's also around really understanding our customers' priorities. So what are our top 3 things that matter most to customers, and how do we hear the voice of the customer in how we make decisions in the organisation?
Right. What are your thoughts on, I suppose, modernisation, digitisation? There's a hell of a lot of chat about how you drive that modern adult-to-adult relationship with the customer. Is that something that you feel this person will need to focus on, certainly in the medium term?
Hugely. I can have a really simple principle, which is, how do we make it as easy as possible for our customer, and how do we make it as easy as possible for colleagues in the business? And as you get around and listen to what colleagues are saying, there are so many opportunities for us just to do that. So digitalisation, I think, is a great example where how can we make it as simple as possible for customers, provide things that 100% of things we do that they can engage and do themselves for those that want to. But let's make it really simple. There are some customers that may not, and so we can still support those in other ways. I think the opportunity through technology enablers, whether it's ChatGPT or AIs of the world, can transform moving us away from just doing day-to-day stuff to truly problem solving with customers and releasing colleagues' time to actually do far more important things than just transactional stuff. And to me, I think this is a brilliant area for us to really do that in so much better. And I think in terms of just the way that we think about the home, I think is fundamentally changing. What does a future home standard look like? People living in the homes very differently now than they were 5, 10 or 15 years ago. So how do we reimagine what a home looks like, whether that's through modern methods of construction, through combining lounges and kitchens in very different ways. And again, I think we need to think differently about what a future home is.
So let's just spend a minute or two talking about the candidate, what the ideal person looks like. We are looking both in housing and then broadly into regulated B2C environments where they are asset adjacent, where asset is a part of what the organisation does. You yourself, of course, has switched sectors, come over from the commercial side and made a real success of your career in housing. Just tell us a little bit about where this person might come from, what you're looking from, and I suppose what you've achieved in making that step across from commercial into housing.
So I think I'd probably start with in terms of the ambition, and that is someone that wants to make a difference both in terms of how they can bring an organisation together, but a difference within the community and within the lives of people we provide our services to. So for me, that is right at the heart of what we do. And I think what attracted me into the sector was having worked in corporate life in kind of international companies for 20 plus years, is they tend to be a bit more short term because you're very targeted on your profitability for the shareholders. Here we get to do things for the long term, make the right decisions, and it is that opportunity for you to see the difference you can make. And I think that's a fundamental thing that whichever sector you're in, if you have that calling, a housing association like ours allows you to put that into practice. So for me, I think that's probably number one. I think it's also around the freedom to decide how you want to go about do things. I think that long-term focus, I think, makes a real difference in decision making, because you are planning for the long term, you are making decisions over a longer time period, and so I think from an integrity perspective, I think you get the opportunity to get things right. I think it can be sometimes you need to make sure you still stay pacey. And I think in terms of the location we're offering, I think you get a real actually work-life balance, more so. And the Southwest is just a stunning place to work. People, finish work, go take the paddleboard, you're 10 minutes from the beach, and off they go. So it's a really nice sense of that. But I think I'm looking for someone that brings that really inquisitive ability to inspire people, has that long-term vision for where they want to see an organisation go, and have the opportunity to go put that into practice.
All right, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today. There is a link which will follow the end of this video where you can find out more about the organisation, review the candidate brief, and please do get in touch if you have any questions. Thanks, Jonathan.
Great. Thanks, Becky.